Hello out there in cryptocurrency land. Welcome back. So I'd like to thank all my new subscribers. We've picked up quite a few subscribers in the past 48 hours. And this is the first video since I put out that Bitcoin 3000 call. So I'd like to welcome you guys to the channel. Hope you guys enjoy it. Let me know what you like about the channel, what you'd like to see improve, and other things you'd like me to talk about as well. Been doing a lot of live streaming lately as well. So we live streamed a little bit today and a little bit yesterday. Had some good participation in the chat room, and I'd really like to see you guys in there. We're going to start live streaming probably about noontime Arizona, because I'm in Arizona time. So I'll probably be doing a live stream for about a half an hour or so around noon every day from now on. I will also be attempting to live stream in the evening, although we'll see how that works out. I will be setting a schedule for that, and you guys should see that update tomorrow more than likely. In terms of the market and what it is doing, so via the live stream today, we watched this thing drop, and it dropped very hard, and it dropped for a long time. I live streamed for about an hour and a half, and it was pretty much all bad news the entire time. So I did get off once we hit this low at about 220, 225 level. We watched it chop around there. We mentioned that that could be a possible trading bounce into some kind of a trend line, and that's what we're starting to see here. I moved into Ethereum from Bitcoin if you didn't notice. I'm going to move into the 15-minute in Ethereum, and I want to show you something that I'm not too thrilled about. Not too thrilled at all. I talked a little bit in the live stream regarding if you see bounces and they start to go horizontal and they start to lose angular momentum, that is a bad sign. And we seem to be getting some of that here in Ethereum. But we'll have to see where it ends up. It's not guaranteed we're going lower. We are getting low to the target area here of about $180. So we'll see how, this could be the final shakeout to the $180 level after we break down from this low. At that level, I would definitely be looking to acquire some Ethereum down here, somewhere in this bubble. I think anything would be good. And to be honest with you, even 225, this 237, when you think about it, historically our high is at 400, so this would be like something like an 80% increase from here. Although that time frame could be a couple months out. If you're comfortable holding through that, that's great. If you're comfortable holding through another shakeout down to the 180 level, possibly a little bit further, I think that could be in the cards. So when I'm referring to losing angular momentum, what do I mean by that? So let's take a look. So this is the peak over here at about 400. Let's take a look at what I'm talking about. So we have a drop, and we have a pretty straight up retracement. Then we have another drop, and then we have a less angled retracement. Okay, so we have this angle, and then we have this angle here, which this loses some of its vertical, right? And then we kind of pull in over here, and we lose some angular momentum. And then we kind of move this over here, and the angular, it kind of stays the same, not too bad. Maybe this does increase a little bit. But then we come down here, and our angular momentum has actually gone sideways. It's actually gone sideways. Typically, when you see bearish behavior like this, and you start losing that angular momentum, things can fall apart and fall apart fairly rapidly. So it's about 9:13 here in Arizona right now, and China wakes up at about midnight to 2 a.m. my time. So I would anticipate. No, I'm not saying this is going to happen. I'm not a fortune teller. I broke my crystal ball in the last video, but I would anticipate some kind of move out of China when they finally get up and start becoming active. It's highly possible we break down here into the 180 area, but I'm going to be honest with you guys. I think that is a very fast move. Let's back out to the daily chart. I think this is a very fast move for Ethereum to get down that far that fast. If we do spike all the way down here, I think we would definitely get some kind of a bounce out of it. Definitely not a feeble bounce like we've been seeing. Because if you notice on the daily, it doesn't look like we've had any bounces except for this first one. Looks like some sideways action, downward, then a bounce, then more sideways action, then downward, and then now we're getting this is a pretty feeble bounce here. It's not really a bounce. It's just kind of a consolidation before a continuation in trend. That's really what that looks like. So we definitely could get this bounce lower But we also have we have a trend line right here. We have a trend line right here, touching these tops, touching these areas. So this trend line right here, we're very far from this trend line. And if you notice here, every time we get far from the trend line, we do tend to consolidate. So as far as where we could go, when we could get there, I talked about this trend line, this bounce possibly getting up to this trend line. If we dive back into the 15-minute, that looks great, doesn't it? We dive back into the 15-minute, we're still very far from this low-level trend line. This is that low-level trend line you saw that looked very vertical on the daily. As I drew it on the 15-minute, of course it's going to look very vertical on the daily. Yeah, I drew this line here earlier talking about a potential pop up, but that never really happened. So we're actually stuck with a double top here and a double bottom, just stuck in a range, a very low-level range. This should get consolidated to the downside, or this should continue to the downside. But if we do move sideways or up, we have this trend line that's going to cause resistance for us. We also could cause resistance out of this trend line, which this is that longer term trend line that I just drew on the daily chart. So we definitely could drift sideways, could drift up. We do see a similar type of pattern here, right? So this is that right shoulder where we popped and everyone thought the move was done. We thought we were done selling, myself included. Then we popped down here, and I thought we would double bottom here and come out of it. We did not. We actually ended up kind of weakly rising. Notice there's no volume on this rise, and then we sold directly into it. I think this is one of those. Is this a China sell or is this an 8 a.m. sell? It's an 8 a.m. sell. Anyway, we could do something like that here. It's really impossible to say, but we want to look for what kind of action we get out of China in the overnight hours if you're in the United States, and just kind of see what happens there. Bitcoin, very similar look to it. Very similar, actually a little more bearish. Bitcoin already has no angular momentum. It's already flat, and then it continued downward. So this definitely kind of looks like a measured move to me. Yeah, see right there, measured move almost on the dot. We have a measured move here. We could get a third leg down, and a third leg down from here would put us in this bubble area, kind of near the 2800 level. So I'm going to do a follow-up video to this, guys. Watch if you want to. I'm going to do another video for a bit of a longer-term view on Bitcoin, but this is the shorter-term view video. And if you're curious where we can go, how far we can get there, you need to draw these trend lines. You need to be aware of where the resistance is. You need to be aware of where there could be some additional selling. And Bitcoin, we're really far from this trend line. I mean, we're farther than we were back here. I mean, if we try to take a perpendicular line from here, this isn't scientific by any means, guys. I'm just kind of drawing for comparison. I mean, we're pretty far from that. We're pretty far from that line at this point. So we definitely could go sideways. We definitely could go down. That is definitely in the cards with this type of a chart pattern. Very weak action here. Very weak action. I mean, even though we have large volume, it still doesn't look like bottoming has come into play yet. So I would still be on the defensive with all of your positions. Even a lot of these other coins have really taken it to the woodshed. Mise go down to 8.6. You saw it down here underneath 8 during the live chat. So there's a lot of bearishness here in the market. And that's it for this video, guys. I'm going to do another video right after this about a longer term vision for the markets. But I want this to be I want this video to be specific about Bitcoin and Ethereum and just the weakness that we're seeing here recently. So that's it, guys. Let me know if you like the video. Suggestions in the comments. Spread it around. Spread the word about real crypto. And we will see you guys on the live stream tomorrow. All right. Thank you.